influence of extreme emotional disturbance for which there was a reasonable explanation or excuse, the reasonableness of which is to be determined from the viewpoint of a person in the defendant's situation under the circumstances as the defendant believed them to be. So that would make him not guilty of murder, but a person is guilty of manslaughter.
So that's a big-ass loophole in Kentucky law. Section 507.020. A person is not guilty of murder if he acted under the influence of extreme emotional disturbance for which there was a reasonable explanation or excuse, and the reasonableness to be determined from the viewpoint of a person in the defendant's situation under the circumstances as the defendant believed them to be. So this is about Judge Kevin Mullins being killed by Mickey Stines, Sheriff Sean Mickey Stines. So this is, I'm going to post this in a month from now, but it is September 25th, 2024 right now, late in the evening. So this has to do with Sheriff Mickey Stines' murder case. He just had his arraignment, and he seemed to be, you know, cool as a cucumber. People said he had no emotions. What's he supposed to get to the damn court and just start crying, "I'm so sorry," or just get pissed off at this judge? You better watch yourself, Judge. He's going to be cool because he needs to be cool. And I bet you, I mean, he seems like he's got a kind face. So we'll see how this whole thing turns out. Very interesting arraignment. This is a very interesting arraignment. It actually gives me, you know, PTSD just rewatching, you know, just watching all this shit. Mickey Stines was already represented by a public defender, so the public defender went ahead and just jumped straight right up. I think that's a good look for the public defender, just like night court. Night court, you got the prosecutor, you got the defense attorney right there, right? You need to at least have them speaking on the defendant's behalf. You're going to try to convict this person, and this person could be, you know, get capital punishment. You're just not going to have them have a damn lawyer. You're not going to give them the best representation that they could possibly have. If I'm a judge, I'm going to make sure that the conviction is a good conviction. Get the best lawyer. Get all the evidence. Get all the defenses that they could possibly have. Mickey Stines, instead of just having Mickey Stines apply for it, I think you should just give him the lawyer. He says he wants it. They're trying to see if he's indigent or not. Well, he's going to lose his sheriff's job. It was interesting that he made himself $115,000 a year. That's how much sheriffs make in Letcher County. Letcher County is one of the poorest counties in Kentucky. And they make $115,000, so the politics just surrounding who gets those cushy, you know, government jobs. Who gets those nice, cushy government jobs. And how is Mickey Stines supposed to secure a lawyer from jail, a lawyer who will fight the case to his liking? What happens when Mickey Stines is drained of his funds? Does the lawyer just walk away then? So Mickey Stines has got a public defender, at least for the preliminary hearing, which is coming up in like 10 days. And they're doing it in West Liberty in Morgan County, which is interesting. That's Eastern Kentucky, but that's like way north. That's like 2 hours north. The U.S. Constitution says that you have a right to be tried within the vicinity of the area. How exactly does it say it? So it's saying the district shall have been previously ascertained by law and to be informed of the nature and cause of accusation, to be confronted with the witnesses against him, to have compulsory process for obtaining witnesses. Okay, in all criminal, this is 6th Amendment. In all criminal prosecutions, the accused shall enjoy the right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. So in the state and district where the crime shall have been committed. So that judge and that sheriff is from Letcher County. They're the only sheriff, they're the only judge in that county. So that's where it should be absolutely represented. I remember a King County judge who was covering that library book. I got arrested because of an overdue library book. Donald Trump has 34 felonies, gets a conviction. He's not going to spend a single day in jail. Well, I had a $20 library book and I had to spend a single day in jail. And a female jailer was giving me shit when I got there. So that's bullshit, right? That's Chaplinsky. Chaplinsky had said, called a cop a fascist, and then, well, hell, you're not allowed to do that because that's fighting words. But these motherfuckers are allowed to say some dumb shit, and that's not fighting words? I mean, these judges, in that case, in that Kenton County case, he said some fighting words. He was just such an asshole. He's this little tiny scrawny thing, and before I got called up to the podium, he's sitting there just yelling at all these inmates from, you know, camera. So he's a tough guy. He's like, no. I said, no, I'm not going to release you on 10%. No, I'm not going to do it. And he'd just give like his mean face. So they could say some dumb shit. That's not fighting words. But if we say, hey, why are you being a fascist? And that's, talk about being a fascist authoritarian. That's how you get compliance, right? With threats of violence and great cruelty. So, $20 library book, that seems like it's absolutely nothing. This is the Kenton County stint, so this is northern Kentucky. I was living in Breckenridge at the time. I was running for lieutenant governor at the time, too. So they covered the library book of me, right? So the Kenton County judge, he is such a dick. He is such an asshole. I get arrested for the thing. I got to go up to Kenton County. It turns out just pay the damn library $20 and then it was all over. Well, when I get to Kenton County, driving from Breckenridge County, I started out super early in the morning. It felt like it was a 1 to 2 hour drive. And then, you got to go both ways. So 4-hour round trip. So I had to start out like 4 a.m., 5 a.m. I started out really early in the morning. And it was dark outside. So I got headlights. It's dark. I'm driving. And a damn deer jumps out in front of me. So not only do I have a smashed up front end of my cheap ass piece of shit truck, but the deer rolls over several times. He was sitting right there at the corner. I saw them on the corner of the road. I was like, no way he's just going to jump right out in front of me. That's exactly what he did. And so I hope that the deer lived, but I'm not for sure. That Kenton County Nazi authoritarian totalitarian fucking prick fucking arrested over a $20 library book, and then I have to get in an argument with some fucking police officer and then the jailer to boot. And then hell, that could have, turned into something fucking bigger, right? You got to have threats of violence and great cruelty. It's how you get compliance out of people. So he starts court at like 8 a.m., leaves at 10 a.m. He did his, docketing real early in the morning. Folks generally have to sit in the courthouse pews for like an hour or two before they get even to talk to the judge on their case. You got to be there at 8 a.m. no matter what, then he'll call you fucking 10 a.m., 11 a.m., 3 hours later. But if you got a lawyer, you actually move up to the front of the line. You get right up to the front of the line. But if you don't have a lawyer, well, you just have to sit in the pew and wait until you're called. Well, he told me that I could afford a lawyer. I had actually showed up for like a couple minutes late. He was like, well, I could have, thrown you in jail for contempt. Oh, my fucking God. For a $20 overdue library fucking book. Well, I told him I owned a truck because I hit a deer. And he's like, well, since I requested a jury trial and a lawyer. And he says, well, you could afford a lawyer. Well, you got a truck, right? All you got to do is just sell that truck. So sell my piece of shit truck for $500 and then buy a lawyer with that paltry sum for over a $20 library book, and just to see that fucking lawyer fumble the ball and ruin the case and be like, oh shit, oh well. And then how am I supposed to get to the damn courthouse? It makes no sense. But basically this is what the fucking judges do. It's such a corrupt, I heard that it was like the #1 most corrupt state in the union. So how am I supposed to get to the courthouse with no transportation? Coming from Brack County, a fucking 4-hour round trip drive for something that happened like 10 years prior. Isn't there a statute of limitations over a $20 overdue library book? And since I had a piece of shit truck, then I'm supposed to be rich enough to buy a damn lawyer? I'm glad that this Mickey Stines is going to get a government lawyer. Man, supposed to what? Give $1,000 for some snake-ass lawyer? What they say? You know how you can tell when a lawyer is lying? When he moves his lips. What do you call 10,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A good start. So that's just some dumb shit that I've seen from a Kentucky judge who didn't give a shit about what the charges was, what the fucking circumstances was. You're before me, so clearly I get to be a fucking prick to you. So that's, let's see, another judge in Breckenridge County. This is over Spalding University. Stole $60,000 from me. For 2 years, I get straight A's. I go through their program. I do everything that they tell me to do. And then they pawn me off on some fucking asshole Julie Chancellor piece of shit teacher. And then she's just a fucking Nazi motherfucking authority. We were supposed to be partners. But she fucks me over, and it wasn't like an apprenticeship. We were supposed to be a dynamic duo, but I showed up for that conference where they said, shut up, do this, do that. So I showed up for that conference. She didn't show up. I had to go through all this dumb shit, and I hear all the information, and then she didn't hear any of the information. I didn't show up for some sort of hearing in the very beginning of the thing. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Or no, it could have been that fucking principal thing. So the principal, they called me. Both of those cases were happening at the same time. And then the principal thing, I asked him, would you like to take a step outside? They lie about it. They said that that I threatened him. No, I asked him. It was an option. It was optional. Would you like to take a step outside? You just broke a contract. You said you was going to do a survey. You didn't do the damn survey. And the survey question had how much democracy, how much freedom and democracy is in your class. Do you know the 3 branches of government? Are you actually learning your civics? He didn't want anybody to know that Breckinridge County schools don't goddamn teach. This is right where Abraham Lincoln left Kentucky too. So no telling how KKK, Confederate racist sons of bitches are there. I heard Matt Walsh talking about growing up, nobody was racist. That's weird because the people that I grew up around, they all were racist, and actually not being a racist was the weird thing. You're the outlier if you're an anti-racist. So Breckinridge County has to do with that principle shit, right? He's got no evidence, but he knows the judge issues a fucking warrant. So I got to go through the damn rigmarole, right? Well, I showed up for like a minute late or some shit. But he showed up, the fucking DA, he showed up for, a future hearing. How come he didn't get piss test? When I showed up for a minute, he said, well, clearly he's crazy or some shit. We need to piss test him. What the fuck? It was a fat fuck DA. And he still ran a private law practice. So the DAs in Kentucky get to have their own private law practices. Well, how is that not corrupt as fuck? Jimmy Carter had to sell his damn peanut farm. All you got to do to get the DA in on your side is just go pay him some lump sum to prosecute some other case, and then he's beholden to you. You just paid him a bunch of money. You think he's going to charge you later on? So that's absolutely bullshit. You should just be paid just by the state. That should be, he gets $100,000 anyways. Why do you need a private practice on top of the, Jimmy Carter, he was the president, sold his peanut farm, so it doesn't look like he's, funneling money into your private affairs. What do they call that? Laundering money laundry. So some fat fuck DA that's in Breckinridge County who totally fucked me the fuck over, and that female judge who wanted to fuck me the fuck over goes to a trial. But before the trial, I had to get piss tested, and you know what? I was high as hell. So I did smoke marijuana. I don't anymore, but I did smoke marijuana. And then when I went to the court, I had a lawyer. So it's like, this is just one of the preliminary fucking things. I got a lawyer, as a public defender, but why would I have to go to one of the preliminary things? They just want to be fucking assholes, and they want to do that piss test fucking thing. And then I passed the piss test. So, that was lucky of me, huh? Mickey Stines, he gets paid $115,000 for being sheriff. So that's pretty incredible. Now, I'm comparing and contrasting this arraignment that had happened with Mickey Stines and how the judge had treated him basically with respect. But he was sitting there saying, are you poor? Do you have any assets? Do you own a house? Do you have any income? Do you have a savings account? You have a savings account. Why didn't every person in America have a banking account, a savings account, and a checking account? You got a checking account? You got a savings account? Well, that must mean, I got $100 in the savings account. What the fuck? His house was only worth $45,000. So, and he's not going to be sheriff anymore. He's not going to be getting the money while he's sitting there, on fucking doing a capital case, a capital murder case. So no telling how much politics is involved behind that. And he won his election 2 times in a row. So the judge in Breckinridge County, she acted like I had lied on some government forms. I asked for a lawyer, asked for a jury trial and a lawyer, so I filled the forms out right then and there, and I handed it to her. Well, she goes in the back and then comes out, well, some of these figures didn't add up. I hurriedly fucking, wrote down some shit. I can assure you I don't have the motherfucking money, you fucking asshole. So it's interesting, right? If you have to go pay for a fucking lawyer, then that lawyer gets to be a dick to you. Then they get to say, hey, if you don't listen to me, then I'll fucking revoke your goddamn law license or whatever. So it's kind of crazy. If you go pro se, ex parte, if you go by yourself, you actually have more power than a damn lawyer does. So it's best to just stand up for yourself. Know your Constitution and stand up for your own rights. So Mickey Stines, they made some sort of, the public defender said that he's going to have to pay $100,000. These, capital murder cases can go up to several $100,000. So you're just going to drain him till he's poor, and then once he's poor, then give him a public defender? And they used to be called public pretenders. Now, I had one good one, that Breckinridge County was a good one, but public pretenders because, we got too many things, and they suck, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And they never take it to a jury trial. They never fight. They never stand up. It's not like it's their fucking ass on the line. It shouldn't be tried in Morgan County, West Liberty. West Liberty is where that damn tornado had hit 12 years ago. It should be tried in Letcher County, like I just read to you. The Sixth Amendment says that you should be tried exactly, Here it is. The accused shall enjoy a right to a speedy and public trial by an impartial jury of the state and district wherein the crime shall have been committed. So I thought it said something about the vicinity, but it's supposed to be in the vicinity. So it should be in Letcher County. You should be tried by a jury of your peers. You're going to tell me Morgan County and goddamn West Liberty knows what's going on in Letcher County? They don't know shit about motherfucking Letcher County. Nobody does. Even the judge says, well, you're from Leslie County, huh? No, Letcher County, you dumbass fucking judge. The judge looked like he wanted to be a dickhead to him, but he was kind of like, all right. So it was nice to see that Mickey Stines was actually getting at least a modicum of respect from that judge. So like I said, you know, I had to do that piss test. I was high on marijuana. That one guy said I could afford a lawyer because I had a fucking truck. They didn't treat him like that. They didn't treat Mickey Stines like that. I think this is going to go, obviously, to a jury trial. He's not going to say he's guilty. The court wants to try to plea bargain it out or get him to say guilty. They're not going to get that. He's not going to do that. So this is going to go to a jury trial. And there should be a grand jury indictment, but they're going to have a preliminary hearing, which you're allowed to have a preliminary hearing in lieu of a grand jury in some places. In fact, I mean, should I pull out the Kentucky law book? A lawyer had deposed Mickey Stines for 8 hours just a few days prior to the shooting. So there's a lot of interesting parts to this case. So let's see. Yeah, that judge thought it was Leslie County. Letcher County is a different county than Leslie County, you stupid fuck. But that just tells you basically there's 120 counties. They don't care. One county is the same as the other county. They don't give a shit. They're going to get their 6 figures every fucking year. They don't have to go out into the damn public and, you know, kidnap the people and take it to them to fucking fuck up the case. So there's a lot of why. Why did this happen? Nobody is figuring out why it happened. There's a lot of speculation that has to do with Mickey Stines' daughter was being involved with the judge Kevin Mullins. I don't know if that's just rumors or if that's actually what the justification would be. Like, why would he do something like this? Well, hell, maybe he was fucking with his daughter. So apparently Letcher County seems to think that, you know, and I think that's, I don't know, depends on what fucking with the daughter means and how old she was. I heard she was in high school, 15, 16, 17. So, yeah, if he was, like, being romantic with her or sitting there, like, you know, texting a bunch of disgusting shit, and he says, hey, I'm going to arrest you, or the other one says he's going to arrest you, I thought maybe they were sleeping with each other's wives. I think it has a lot to do with this deposition. So there was a sexual assault that had happened in Judge Kevin Mullins' chambers. It also happened in the bathroom. So how can sexual assaults, the deputy had sexually assaulted this ankle monitor program lady who was and it happened in his chambers, it happened in his bathroom, but Kevin Mullins was not deposed. Mickey Stines is because he's the boss and he was supposed to train his deputy properly, but how does Kevin Mullins not know what's happening in his chambers and what's happening in his bathroom? There's a video, apparently, of Mickey Stines picking up Kevin Mullins' phone. They, like, looked at each other's phones or some shit. Mickey Stines picks up his phone, shoots, and then after he goes down, picks up the phone again and then walks away. There's no audio to that, though, so I guess surveillance. But there's a video of Mickey Stines picking up that phone of Judge Kevin Mullins. And it's a state judge, too, so they say district judge. Not the same as a federal district, because there's a circuit judge, too. A lot of political positions, a lot of local, 120 counties, and you need to have at least 20 to 30 to 100 goddamn motherfuckers getting $100,000. It's so fucking much money. Jesus Christ. And then they'll act like, oh man, don't get me started, but if you're making $100,000, then, you know, paying your electric bill and shit isn't no fucking thing, and having to pay for a bail and maybe getting a fucking lawyer, they ain't no thing for you, right? So it's just hypocrisy all over the place. There's a lawyer had deposed Mickey Stines for 8 hours just a few days prior to the shooting. So I'm sure the anxiety of all that got to him. He's having a conversation with 8 hours, pointed conversations. What did you know? When did you know it? How did you train him? Did you train him properly? What way are you going to train him? The lawyer who did the deposition for Mickey Stines, he said he was actually in front of Kevin Mullins, and he asked Kevin Mullins to depose of himself? No, to recuse himself. And he didn't do it, and he thought it was just kind of an automatic thing. And so he says, I will never goddamn represent anybody in Letcher County ever again because of Kevin Mullins. So that's interesting. And then the lawyer who deposed Mickey Stines for 8 hours did it just a few days prior to the shooting. And it had to do with that sexual assault case. I think this is a 1983 federal lawsuit. So he fired the deputy. Basically, it sounds like this Mickey Stines has got nothing to fucking do with it except for one of his deputies was, you know, goddamn doing some dumb shit. And he was doing it in Kevin Mullins' fucking chamber. So what's that got to do with Mickey Stines, except for he had hired him. When he found out about it, he fired him. So that's, I don't know how much, if anything, I feel like, I don't know who's representing Mickey Stines, but it's almost like he shouldn't sweat it. He should just tell them what they know. But, 8 hours, go there and talk for 2 hours and then fucking leave. So I think the anxiety of all that would have got to him. It'd been very interesting to hear what that deposition is about. The lawyer is sitting there saying he can't talk about it because there's rules of evidence or some shit. It's got to do with this fucking case. It's going to come out in the fucking trial anyways. So I think that the public should hear what the hell was on that tape and what the hell they were talking about. And then he said that peripherally he was talking about Kevin Mullins. So he's saying just off to the side, like it wasn't the main, Kevin Mullins wasn't the main topic, but his name did get pointed out. There was a friend that was saying they just had lunch that day, that morning or whatever. For lunch, they were, laughing it up, cutting it up. They're best friends and shit. And everybody knows everybody in Letcher County. Y'all know your fucking Ellis keys? Because you all kept your Ellis keys because of this motherfucker. And you didn't get your John Masters. John Masters was trying to live deliberately, Henry David Thoreau style, with a little shack in some old abandoned coal country, old mountain, an old decapitated mountain that the coal companies raped the fuck out of and left in absolute tatters. I found a rock in this guy. Well, anyways, I don't want to get into that. So Mickey Stein's gunning that Letcher County state judge down. A lot of times they say, hey, shouldn't he have just complied? Shouldn't he have just obeyed the lawful order? I saw a guy in Colorado who got murdered by a cop for swallowing a pill. He had a pill, and the cop's going to bust him for it, so he tries to swallow it, and the cop puts hands on him, and they're wrestling. He's like, get off me, and then the cop puts the gun into his stomach, pow, pow, fucking kills him. For a pill, a single fucking pill? Who did that cop protect? But a lot of people say, well, he should have just did what he was told. You got to comply, just obey. So shouldn't the judge have just obeyed? Shouldn't the judge just have complied? That's what the public has told time and time again whenever the cops kill somebody, and nobody blinks an eye. Everybody goes on with their day. Keep on marching even though everything's falling apart. We can't do capital punishment through the court systems, but cops are killing people left and right. And it's not even over violent incidents. This guy is sitting in the back seat. Capital cases are hard to press for the court system, but cops just fire their service weapons and blammo. Another one bites the dust. In California, there was a guy who blew up the courthouse. Yesterday, September 24th, 25th. So that reminds me of a George Carlin joke. He said that you can't fight City Hall, but you could sure as hell blow it up. But that's a joke, okay? Of course, terrorism isn't the way. Terrorism to attack civilians in order to get political outcomes. Isn't that what the cops are doing? Isn't that what the cops do when they beat up just regular-ass civilians? Isn't that what Israel's doing in Gaza and Palestine and now Lebanon now? They killed 500 people in Lebanon. I guess the war in Gaza isn't going well, so let's try to get in a war with Lebanon. Who else are they going to fucking bomb? The word terrorism actually came from the reign of terror during the French Revolution. People are pissed off at the police state, the totalitarian regime, and the courts. And if you don't have cops or court protection, then you have to defend yourself. And then if they tell you can't defend yourself, what the fuck? What the fuck? They're telling you that there is no options for you. When Missouri had executed Marcellus Williams, he had 7 major reasonable doubts. You had a fingerprint, you had a boot print, you had a hair sample, and you had DNA. I don't know if that was blood, semen, or just, skin cells, but they had DNA evidence of a foreign person being the main reasonable doubt. That's 7 big-ass reasonable doubts. So if we're going to miss all these reasonable doubts for Marcellus Williams, and you're going to kill this innocent person, the person who was not convicted beyond a reasonable doubt, when you kill an innocent person, Blackstone said the ratio should be 10-1, and then Benjamin Franklin said 100-1, and then Hale said 5-1, then Fortescue said 20-1. That means you got to be more than 90% sure. Not 100%. You witnessed it yourself. You have videotape. That's pretty much the only way you could get 100%. But 90, 95%, you're going to kill an innocent person. Why should anybody in America be a good person? If all it takes is just some damn cops to kidnap you and lie about you, how are we supposed to work hard, get a career, family, make something of ourselves, if all it does is just for some fucking goddamn fascist fuck to point their finger at you? And then that's all she wrote? That's why you don't kill innocent people. That's why you don't kill innocent people. Because if you're virtuous and good, what incentive is there to continue to be virtuous and good if somebody could just finger you and then that's all she wrote about you? That's all she wrote. And now what happened to what Joe Biden had fingered that one woman? What happened to her? She's gone. She's in Russia right now. There's real criminals out here. There are folks who hurt others over and over again. There's gangsters. There's murderers on the loose. You know, was it assault, rape, thieves? Anybody investigating these cases? Chris Mondragon is still running around. How many murderers are still on the loose? Washington State right now is making it tougher to be a cop. That's from the Attorney General. You have Bob Reichert versus Bob Ferguson. I don't know. There's two guys. The Democrat. I like the Democrat. He seems a little nerdy. And then that Republican seems a little tougher. But an interesting race. Very interesting in Washington State. But it's the Democrat that's saying that he's going to make it tougher on the police. I like that. Raise the standards for the police. Raise the standards. They should have to. They get donuts, right? So they get all the perks. They get awesome state power. You have unlimited violence. The state assumes unlimited violence. So they get all that power. They get unlimited, basically what, qualified immunity, almost unlimited immunity. It should be tougher to be a cop. They should have higher standards than the rest of us. That makes me want to apply to be a cop in Washington State and do things actually right and properly. You don't need to fucking goddamn do, this fucking sexual assault shit. You don't need to go into shit that you have nothing to. You got to have probable cause. You want to get the bad guys, and you want the innocent to go free. So figure out what's going on, find out who's, doing what, and then get to the truth. With objective truth, you can get objective justice. Without objective truth, you don't know what the hell happened. And you heard about that loophole. So basically, if you're just pissed off about something, and then a reasonable person thinks that you being pissed off about that certain something is A-okay, then that's first-degree murder. All the other charges are less than first-degree murder. So I think cops should take their awesome power with some humility. Cops should take their awesome power with some humility. Fascinating case.